It's a theater thing. Got my thing. Thank you.
Rockstars Girls Lacrosse. Rockstars Girls Lacrosse. The Rockstar.
I can't hear that. Can you hear it? There it is.
Rockstars. Rockstars Girls Lacrosse. Rockstars Girls Lacrosse. The Rockstars Girls Lacrosse Show with hosts Ronnie Davis and Craig Spazman Simmons.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Rockstars Girls Lax Podcast with me, Ronnie Davis, and Craig the Spazman Simmons.
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, man. You know, right, Section 5 championships have been played. All-Americans are out in Section 5. First round of regionals have been played this past weekend, and, you know, we got 4 teams in Section 5 going to the state semifinals this Friday in Cortland. And, you know, to jump right in, you know, I think we should talk about some of the information that came out. All-Americans have come out in Section 5.
Okay, I don't know. When did they come out? Because I haven't seen that yet.
They will be publicized today on GLAX 5.
That's why I haven't seen them yet.
Yep. And but we all the girls know who made All-American.
Okay.
So the first one, you know, let's talk about. I want to see if we can get her on the line. Hey Fitz, can we get Morgan Schwab on the line? If I give you her number here. Okay. Morgan Schwab, All-American, the Schwabby, from Fairport.
Yeah.
And here, Fitz, let me just hold on, give you her number.
While you do that, a big shout out to Fitz. He's working hard for us today, man.
Sorry we had to start the podcast late.
He's working hard.
They were doing some paving out in the parking lot, so everyone, you know, got in a little late.
Discombobulated.
But we're going to call Morgan Schwab. And, you know, she was, you know, voted for the All-American, one of 3 players. And we'll talk about the other 2 players in a minute. But, you know, I think that she was the no-brainer of the group, right?
Okay.
Morgan is going to University of Virginia. She's a 2020. She is in the top 5. She's number 5 rated 2020 player in the country.
Okay.
By Inside Lacrosse. And you know, she led her team to, you know, an overtime game against Pittsford. Scored, you know, I think 3 or 4 goals in that game, some highlight reel goals.
Sure.
And she is, you know, in my mind, okay, and she's been, you know, in the top 5 a few times, obviously, of the Fairport Hots top 5. But in my mind, she's the best player in Section 5.
Okay.
So, you know, for her to get this honor, okay, because it's voted on by the coaches in Section 5. And, you know, for her to get this honor as a junior is, you know, an incredible, you know, accolade for her.
It is, because you don't see that a lot. You usually see it going to the seniors.
And, you know, you usually see it to the seniors that are, you know, actually, you know, have won, you know, the Section 5 championship or so forth,
Yeah.
and, you know, they go on a little farther. But Morgan was able to get this, and you know, everyone I talked to said, you know, Morgan's a no-brainer of the group. I mean, she's just that outstanding of a player. She, you know, took Fairport on her back this year. They didn't have a great season, right? They were up and down. But
well, they've gone through a lot over there with different coaches and things like that. So
they have, and you know, the positive thing is Marikarp, the new coach. She's super positive. She's a great coach. A great hire for them, and Morgan and crew speak wonders of her. So I think that, you know, obviously Fairport, although losing a few seniors this year, they're going to be back next year, and I think Morgan's going to carry the load. But, you know, like I said, just the being an All-American voted on by all the coaches in Section 5 and getting that accolade is a great honor for a junior,
Sure it is.
Oh, senior. Morgan, are you on the line? Oh. I'm sorry. Go to the phones.
Yeah, let's go to the line. Need a sponsor for that.
Right. Morg, you're on the line here?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, thanks for taking a call for the Rock Stars Girls Lax podcast with myself and Craig Simmons. Hey, Morgan, congratulations on All-American.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful accolade, especially you being a junior in high school, getting it. The other two that we haven't announced yet are both seniors, and both of them with their teams playing in the Section 5 championship. Your Fairport team, lost a heartbreaker to Pittsford, but you were still able to carry that team and garner the accolade of All-American. So, and it was voted on by all Section 5 coaches, which I think is the biggest part of this, that, everyone you played against thought that highly of you to vote, you the All-American. So congratulations, and how's it feel to be an All-American?
Yeah, I'm just so happy about it. It's really cool to know that a lot of people think that highly of you. But I think a lot of credit just goes to my team this year and just being there for me and supporting me, and the coaching staff is amazing, and everybody else that helps me throughout the way. I couldn't do anything really without their support, so it starts there.
Morgan, thanks for joining us here on the podcast and playing like a rock star all season. This is a Spaz Man, in case you didn't know. But how does an accolade, how can you use an accolade like being named an All-American? How can you transpose that into helping you in the upcoming future over the summer in your senior year? How can you translate that into something practical that you can use more than just a plaque or a trophy, whether it's on or off the field?
Right, yeah, it's a good question. I would say, honestly, having something honored to you like that is just a big confidence booster. It kind of just lets you know that you're doing a good job. But I take it more as a motivation to me, just to keep getting better, because everybody can always get better, and just to keep motivating those around me, because I feel like anybody in Section 5 is really capable of getting that kind of thing if they work hard and they're really motivated to their sport. So yeah, I take it as a really big honor. I think it's awesome. I'm really excited about it, but it really just motivates me to keep getting better.
So, Morgan, we talked about a couple weeks ago on the show about, different accolades. For one, there's the Under Armour All-American, and there's all these different things that you can lobby for. Your parents can lobby for, coaches can lobby for, your parents can lobby for these accolades that you can get. And those accolades are, basically the more stats you send somebody or the more times you hound somebody, eventually I guess you get it in print. You have been, you've made your way to the US U19 training team, which we all know, it doesn't matter how many letters your mom and dad or anyone writes, you basically make that team based on your ability. You were named Inside Lacrosse top 5 2020 in the country. That is done by Inside Lacrosse actually doing their homework and finding the right players and coming to watch you play at different events. And now All-American that's voted on by, other coaches. Those 3 accolades right there are all based on stuff that's out of your control except for playing, as best you can. So, when you build your resume, you basically have the top 3 accolades you can get as a player. What's next for Morgan Schwab?
Well, I'm going into my senior year in about 2 weeks. It's going to be the summer of my junior year, going to my senior year. I would probably just say getting ready to dominate at the collegiate level, considering, obviously finishing off at Fairport and trying to do the best we can do next year, and kind of just getting the youth ready to come up and dominate there too. But I would say just getting motivated and getting athletically prepared to do what I can to make a name for myself in the NCAA.
Ronnie kind of stole part of my next question. I was going to ask you what kind of future aspirations you have, because you have very high lacrosse acumen. You are very well versed. You are very diplomatic in your answers. You're just a smart kid, all right? Let's put it that way. I think I told Ronnie after the first time we had talked, I see you being a future coach. Is that anywhere in your near future, or do you not want to look that far ahead?
Yeah, so funny enough, I actually coached a couple of the younger monster teams with Ronnie, and it's something that I love to do. It's so fun being involved in the development of younger athletes and stuff, and kind of it honestly builds my IQ as a player as well, and just helps me build on social skills and just being around people that can always learn and stuff, and just inspiring people to kind of just go get it. But yeah, I could totally see myself being a coach. I kind of just gonna take everything step by step and pursue my academics at UVA and see what happens. But yeah, I would love to be a coach, totally.
So Morgan, I come up to her yesterday, and she's like, I needed her to go to Baldwinsville for me yesterday. So I called her on Saturday to coach the little kids, and she's like, I got to do this, I got to study, I got to do that. And we hired her and Ashley and Taylor Sampone this summer for coaching, right? And yesterday I say to her, you really suck as an assistant coach, Morgan. Her organization, I mean, she's great when she's there, but her, obviously, Morgan, we're gonna have to work on your organization and your your things to do list, because I'm
Honey,
like,
I gotta get through my school year here.
Yeah, I hear you. She was, I got to take the SATs this weekend, or ACTs this weekend coming up. I said, you're already in Virginia. You've already. Why are you even bothering taking these tests? So she's always striving, to do better than she did last time. So Morgs, thanks so much for coming on. I'll see you this week, but congratulations on the All-American, and it's very well deserved. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Peace.
Thanks. So she's awesome. And like I was busting her chops yesterday about, I'm like, I need you to go coach, and she's like, I got homework.
I bet. Well, her head's on very straight, and I like that she shoots straight and she doesn't mess around. She seems to be the type of person that doesn't. Well, I was going to say might not have a whole lot to say, but what she says has a whole lot of substance.
Yeah, she's a leader by all means, and she's going to be a great coach, and if that's what she wants to be. But like I said, what's most impressive about her accolades are, she didn't lobby for anything. She went out there and played with the U.S. team and made it to the final round. I mean, that right there, you start with 500 kids applicants, right? And you make it down to the top 25 kids. That's impressive right there.
It does. Being selected and chosen is a lot different than nominated per se, if you know what I mean. So, and
then you go to the inside lacrosse, top players in the country at her age level. She comes out at number 5. And in good company, you got Belle Smith in there from Long Island, and Caitlin Wurzberger, and they're just some really good company that she's in that conversation.
Absolutely,
and that's awesome for her and Virginia. So the next All-American coming up that was voted on by the coaches is Kate Mashesky.
Okay.
Yep. Kate from Rush Henrietta. She was the second All-American, in no order. I just it was Kate. And Morgan, and I'll announce the second one or the third one in a minute, but there's no order in particular as far as the voting's concerned.
No.
Kate Mashesky from Rush Henrietta, I thought she did a great job this year. She dominated on the at the draw circle, and I was watching film of because I watched the Pittsford game because obviously my daughter plays, and the thing about Kate is. Her team comes down, they score a goal, or they get scored on, right? And automatically she is, she's getting the group together and she's talking them through it, right? She's truly a captain on that team. And then she's back to the draw circle. And I thought that she did really, really well this year on the draws. And that, she's going to Syracuse, obviously, to be a draw person. So, All-American is well-deserved for Kate. This year, and I'm very proud of her because, like I said, it's a award that is voted on by all the coaches. So I didn't get to see all the Rush Henrietta games, but I'm sure if the voting went her way in the All-American, that she pretty much dominated those draws too. And
well, they had a good season too. Came up a little short, but they had a good season. Now, did she come up through your program?
No. She didn't. She came up through the Rush Henrietta program. She's a 19. Our oldest team is 2020. So
okay.
But she came up through the Rush Henrietta program, which was a great group. They started them young, I think in 7th or 8th grade for the at the varsity level. So she's spent 5 or 6 years on the varsity team, and her father's a longtime coach. So she she's a good kid, and I'm proud of her. Congratulations on the All-American.
Absolutely.
Last one, Ellie Mooney.
Ellie Mooney.
Oh,
I think she was in my top 5 the whole season.
Yeah, she. So very well deserved. Ellie Mooney being an All-American this year. She led Pittsford in scoring. She's scored the game-winning goal in the fourth overtime against Rush Henrietta in the Section 5 championship. She's just a clutch player. Right? She's
also a great athlete too. She's vital with Sutherland's basketball program.
Mendon.
Yeah. What did I say? Sutherland?
Yep.
That's not the first time I've got the two confused.
Yes. Ellie's a multi-sport athlete, a great athlete. And I think that she scored the overtime goal in the state championship when she was a sophomore, right? So she's a clutch player. When you get yourself into situations, obviously the ball's going to Ellie Mooney, and she handled it. I thought Pittsford last year put the ball in the hands of some people that were seniors, and they were unsuccessful at that point because they lost in the semifinals to Penfield. So I think that the seniors last year for Pittsford, failed at the task of bringing their team to a Section 5 championship, and this year they put the ball in the hands of Ellie, and she didn't fail. She got that ball in overtime, and she went to the goal, and she scored the game-winning goal to make her team go up in the fourth overtime. So
73 points leads the way for Pittsford. And I remember having a conversation with her. I think it was last year. Was it last year? She wears the helmet.
Yeah.
And I was trying to dig deep into the whole helmet thing, in the girls' game. And I kind of got away from that, but I understand it. But I was talking to her because she dealt with a concussion and all that good stuff. And I guess the reason I'm bringing that up is because she's got that sitting on her shoulder the whole time, having to play with that type of situation. And that just goes towards how tough that kid is.
Yeah, she's a tough kid, and she definitely deserves the All-American honor that she was voted on. So I'm proud of her for being able to do that. And like I said, she's going to Notre Dame in the fall. And I wish her nothing but the best of luck and congratulate her on the All-American.
Absolutely. Now, is there a set number of All-Americans, or do they come in and say you can pick 3 and then you go and pick those 3 and you vote and then they come back? What's the process there quick?
So the process is that there's one All-American per 6 teams in your section. So I think we have 21 teams, so that gives us 3 All-Americans that we're allowed to have because it's a U.S. lacrosse thing. And then it's voted on by all the coaches in Section 5. Basically, you vote who you think should be All-American.
Okay.
And to like I said, to have this honor, these 3 kids, I don't think I think we got it right. I think Section 5 got it right. I don't think there's another player out there that should have been in that top 3 besides for Morgan, Ellie, and Kate. And like I said, it's not an accolade that your mom or dad can lobby for. It's not like that. It's the true All-American voted on by the coaches in Section 5, with the people that you play against night in and night out. So I think that value alone holds the highest honor because
I agree.
It's voted on by the people you play against.
I agree. In your experience, do you see coaches voting for their own players, or do you see coaches not voting for their player because they don't want to be the guy that votes for their own player?
I have
you see where I'm going?
Yeah, I have no idea. I know that you're able to vote for your own kid.
Okay, so the voting isn't open. It's not something we can go and say, hey, like the sports writers vote for the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. We can see how we wouldn't be able to check that out.
No, so what you get is a list of the kids, and you check off which kid you think should be All-American, and then you hand it in. And then 2 of the coaches take the ballots and they count them up, and then they say, this is how the voting went.
Okay, so you vote for 1 kid.
3.
Okay, 3. All
3
right,
kids.
for every 6.
Yep.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so
I got you.
Yeah, so you get 3 votes, and you pick who you want, and the coaches pick who they want, and then you add those up, and whoever has the most votes in line get it. And I have no idea who got more votes than anyone other.
Okay.
I didn't look at the final tally sheet.
Now did the All-Americans? You can tell me that you don't want to answer that, but did the All-Americans as chosen go along with the way you voted?
Yes.
Okay.
But not exactly. No.
Okay. I got you.
I guess I said it because I personally voted for my own kid. not
Okay.
my daughter, but my, I voted for Clancy Rude. Who
I was
top.
hoping between you and I was hoping that would be the third individual. But,
Yeah,
hey,
and I checked beforehand with the director, Coach Smith, who's in charge of it. I said, are we allowed to vote for our own kids? And he said absolutely. So
Okay.
Without going into who I voted for, but Clancy was definitely one of the ones. I voted for.
I can see that. And during the course of the season, especially towards the latter half or the latter third, because that's when it really starts to matter, I kept saying how her numbers were only half of what they were last season. Her offensive numbers were only half, pretty much, of what they were last season. But her leadership on and off the field, her awareness, her acumen, and her ability to find the 50-50 ball completely outweighs the fact that her numbers haven't been up, but everybody else's around her, she helped them get their numbers up. And that's what a true leader does. A leader doesn't make them worry about making themselves better. They make those around them better.
And the biggest stat with Clancy, and I, you get to talk, and you get to talk about the kid that you nominated, right, from your team.
Okay.
And the biggest stat for Clancy, which is not in any stat column, right? You can't look on GLAX and find it, is her lack of mistakes. I went back and looked through the videos, all the game tapes, and less than 10 times did Clancy Rude make a mistake in 18 games.
Whenever she did, I would use the word rarity. I would say that's a rarity. You don't see that a whole lot. And that might shine a spotlight, make it sound like I'm trying to spotlight the negativity of what just happened, but actually the opposite, saying that it's so rare that happens. You've got to say something when it does.
Yeah, and like I said, less than 10 mistakes out of 18 games, and she's our quarterback. She has the ball more than anybody
QB1,
on
man.
our
QB1.
whole team,
Yeah.
right? So think of Tom Brady, the quarterback, having less than 8 mistakes, right? I mean, he's got probably more interceptions than that. So that's just the way it is,
Sure.
And that's no one can look. There's other coaches that are in the room that Canandaigua has never even played against, right? That are voting. So. You get a chance. You get up and you talk about your kid, and then let the voting chips fall where they may. But I think Section 5 got it right. I really do. I would love for Clancy to be one of these 3 kids, but there's probably 4 or 5 kids that are deserving of it, and these 3 kids got it, and they're well deserved.
Absolutely. And I guarantee you Clancy right now isn't worried about that.
No,
She's worried
no.
about Eastport South Manor on Friday.
She is. So let's jump right into
great segue.
It is. Let's jump right in. Let's go to Class D first. Okay.
Yeah.
We got Pelmac, who beat Minders. Okay. Close game in the Section 5.
It was a lot.
Right?
It was I think it was a 1-goal game, and I was told that the Minders Romulus coach just had a great game plan, and Minders Romulus they executed, and they almost pulled out the upset, and that would have been a major upset. I know that it was number 2 versus number 1, but I think that would have been a major upset.
Yeah, and we talked about earlier off the camera is game plans and executing them, right? And if you execute your game plan on a certain day in a certain way, clearly they had to find a answer for Arnold and Savage and King, right? Jamie Walker.
It's all good.
Those 3 kids, I imagine, scored the large percentage of their goals. Emma Arnold came out as the MVP. I think Andrew Savage still had 4 goals that game while being face guarded. So, my hat's off to Minders for executing a game plan. It looks like they just came up a goal short.
Just a little short. Before we move on, I've got this written down. I'm going to give you the games are on Friday at Cortland.
Yep.
All right. Pelmac is at 9.
9 a.m. Oof.
9. Pittsford is at 11.
Okay.
Canandaigua was at 1, and HFL is at 3. So it goes D, A, B, C, and they're all on the white field, which is the field that doesn't have all the fancy grandstands and all that stuff around it. But again,
we're on a blue collar field.
Yeah,
it's called white, but it's the blue collar field.
It is,
right?
and I like that. I like that. That's a nice way of looking at it. But I just wanted to throw that out there. 9, 11, 1, and 3. And 9 is an early start, but I do believe it's been Pelmax. They go down and spend the night. They go down there, spend the night on Thursday night. So they're up nice and early on Friday to make it happen. And they go ahead.
I said, we all do. All the teams are going down Thursday.
Okay, cool.
And there's a banquet Thursday night. For that.
Yep.
So it'll be fun. It'll be a good banquet, and all the teams that are representing all the different sections will be there. Okay.
And we were talking about Pelmac, right?
Yes.
Well, they're playing Mattatuck out of Section 11, and Mattatuck is 11-5. And it's a tough draw. It's a tough deal. Like you had talked about it, they swap, and this year it's all Long Island.
It is, and
Section 5's got to get past Long Island to get to the finals.
It's all about the path, right? But I mean, you gotta win 2 games to win it. There's no doubt about that. But if you have the Albany / Rockland County path, that tends to be a little easier way to go. So Section 3 has that path this year. So it looks like Section 3 will get the cakewalk to the championships, and then they'll face off against the winner of Long Island and Section 5. Because all Section 5s made it past the regionals this weekend.
There are 3 Section 11 teams that 5 has to go up against, and 1 Section 8. HFL drew the Section 8 team, but they're all Long Island.
Sure.
8 and 11 is Long Island. So, and 1 is the Hudson Valley. So it's all that downstate stuff. But,
right. So HFL, they got by Eastridge. They got by Eastridge in the section championship by a wider margin than their first game.
Yeah. They peak at the right time.
Well, they're doing well, and I watched them play against Lakeshore this past weekend.
Yeah.
Didn't watch the whole game, but it was a close game for a while. But HFL just warmed down and ended up beating Lakeshore. I think 15-9 was the final, and they look good. So I think that HFL's got to come up with a game plan.
I think that they've got Cold Spring Harbor, and you just might as well, as I was jokingly saying before we got started, they might as well just rename the Class C final the Cold Spring Harbor Finals. I mean, I can't remember how many numbers, but they're 16-3 heading into this game, and HFL's got to play beyond perfect to pull out the dub in this game.
Well, it's funny. I was actually watching on the TV the Manhasset Eastport South Manor game, the championship that went into overtime in Eastport. The Sharks won, Land Sharks won. But the announcers, when they were talking, they were very arrogant. And they said, they're like, all these girls have to do is get off the island, and they might as well, put their names in the state finals.
Well, bulletin board fodder right there, brother.
So I'm hoping for any given day, right? And
just one,
just
dude.
One.
Just one of 4. Just one of 4, man. Come on.
All right. So we wish HFL the best of luck this weekend.
Wish them all the best of luck, man.
We're hoping for, like I said, to get Section 5 through that. So
right on.
Let's jump to A. We'll save the best for last, B. Right?
The best starts with B. Pittsford is going to play Northport. Northport 15-1.
They are, but we can't talk about the Northport game yet, or the regional game that they just beat. Who did they beat?
Gotta get
Lancaster.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the Section 5 final.
Yeah, that's right, because we haven't done a podcast since the sectionals finals.
So Pittsford goes in, the 2 seed. Russian Rat is the 1 seed. And what an outstanding game. 4 overtimes it lasted. And it wasn't without controversy. 3 goals got called back from the last 20 seconds of the game through the 4 overtimes. So Pittsford was down 6-4. They came back and tied it at 6. Kira Lucy scores what was perceived to be the game-winning goal with 17 seconds left in the game. The official calls dangerous follow-through, gives her a yellow card. No goal. There's really no true way to see it. If you look at it on film, it looks like there was no way that was a dangerous follow-through. But he had a position on it that was better than the camera sitting in the booth, right? Video in the game. So, the official made the call. That's the call. So we go into the first overtime. Pittsford is still man down, right? No goals. Second overtime, no goals. Third overtime, Kate Mashesky scores. No goal. calls her for in the crease. Now, I've watched the video several times, okay? There's no way to tell if her foot was in that crease.
So you in that situation, you've got to trust that he made the right call.
Right.
Or she, the official, made the right call.
What I will say is, on the video, that when you look at it, the official was in the proper position to make the call. And if you watch his head and his, he was looking right at the crease. He didn't hesitate. There was no hesitation, anything like that. As soon as what perceived to be she stepped in the crease, he went right in and said, nope, no goal, your foot was in
So
the crease.
his official mechanics were on point.
As far as I seen on the video, he was in the proper position to make the call. But there's no way to tell from, obviously, the camera is too far away. So there's a second goal that's called back. One for Pittsford, one for Rush Henrietta. Pittsford goalie Grace Sensible scoops up the ball. She's about 2 feet back into the crease, right? She flips the ball up. Kate Mashesky reaches in, snatches the ball out of the air, scores the goal. That one, I will say, was... the ball was in the cylinder of the crease. There's no way that was a goal.
No, you can't do that.
Right. So there's 3 goals though that get called back. Then we're going into the 4th overtime. And Kate Mashesky has been winning every single draw, right? All but a couple. I'm not sure what her exact stats for that game, but she has been winning all of them. On the 4th particular one, Mooney gets the ball to the ground. McKenna Davis picks the ball up, throws the ball to Mooney. Mooney gets cross-checked from behind. I didn't think it deserved a yellow card, okay? But the official gave the Rush Henrietta girl a yellow card. Now it puts Rush Henrietta down a player.
This is at what point in the game?
This is at the 4th overtime.
Okay.
It was a very physical game. Both sides, right? It was very physical, and I thought it was a very high tempo, stressful game, probably for the officials. Do I think that last push deserved a yellow card in terms of how the game was being played? No, that's a tough call to make. That in the 4th overtime, right? For the official, it wasn't like it was a blatant.
Nothing malicious or flagrant,
malicious,
but
right. It was,
but is that the way they had been calling the game?
No.
See, and that's where I run into the problem. Yeah, and in that situation, you have to call it the same way you have the entire game, in my opinion.
Right. And it was going, it was rough. It was physical, and it was very intense. And so then Ellie Mooney got up. She had the ball, and she ran down around the goal and came around the goal and scored. The overtime in the 4th overtime for Pittsford to win the championship, which 4 overtimes. All I could think of myself is, how mentally tough on both sides, both teams, right, played an outstanding game. But the mental toughness on those kids, on both sides, to be athletes and mentally tough to get to 4 overtimes and a low scoring game like that is remarkable. So I give so much credit to both teams, both sides. Outstanding game, and just their mental toughness. I was pleased with both sides of it.
Well, at that point, as the guy who's has to talk about it, I have to set the picture. I always talk about attrition. When does attrition set in? Which team is going to tire first? Which one's going to get worn down? Because when that happens, you start to make the mental errors. Mm-hmm. And that's nice to hear that both teams didn't do that, and that didn't come into play all the way through quad overtime.
Right. And there were some mistakes. Rush Henrietta had several opportunities throughout the 4 overtimes to put it away. And on the other end, Pittsford missed a couple opportunities. One of them was my own daughter, right? She caught the ball on the left side, and she sent one over the goal.
Over the top.
We missed an 8-meter shot in overtime. Mira Mix, the goalie for Rush Henrietta, came up with a big save. Grace Sensible came up with 3 or 4 huge saves for Pittsford in the 4 overtimes. So just an epic battle. And the one thing about that battle is that the buildup of those seniors. I feel bad for the seniors for Rush Henrietta because they've been building that team for a long time.
Yep.
And it's a very good team. They got some really good Division I kids going on to some great opportunities. But I feel bad for them. But on the other hand, my daughter's on Pittsford, and I'm ecstatic about, her being able to go to states this weekend as well.
One and done, advance and survive. I want to ask you, what was the crowd temperature like the whole time going through all those 4 overtimes and getting goals waved off? And was everything okay? Because remember, we were talking about the crazies last week.
Right.
Did you see any of that this week? What was the temperature like?
It was up and down on both teams. I mean, there was it was basically, man. And then
right.
to make a stop. But yeah.
So nothing chippy.
Nothing. No.
Okay.
No, it was,
that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
It was a great game on both parts. When there's a scoreboard, someone's got to win, and the ball bounced in the right direction for Pittsford in the 4th overtime, and they got the goal.
That's what I like about championship play. There are no shootouts. You're going in soccer and hockey and I'm just saying in sports, in championship play, you're going until there's a dub.
Yeah.
There's no ties in championship play. I've seen it in the championship game where they say, "All right, we're going to have co-champs." But that's cool.
Yeah, there's only one game I thought that was better than that game, and that was the Class B championship.
Best starts with B.
That's right, Class B. And Braves Nation.
Oh
right?
no, I'm just going to tell you, I didn't speak on it until the end of regulation play. I started to. Do you know where I'm going?
Yeah. Did you dog me for losing a 4-goal lead with 6
No,
minutes
I
left?
didn't dog you. I was saying you're going to get an aneurysm. I said Ronnie's going to get an aneurysm because of that. No, because of Choate's goal that they counted at the end, which was clearly Stevie Wonder could see that was not a goal. But it stood. I asked Lexi. I interviewed her at the boys' game, and I asked her about the temperature of what was going on with you over there. Is he going to get an aneurysm? And she said you were going between red and orange, and and that kind of thing. But no, I just kept saying, "Oh no, is this going to happen again? Are they going to give up a lead and end up going into overtime and losing it in overtime?" I didn't. It's like when a no-hitter is happening, you're not supposed to talk about it.
Right.
You're not supposed to talk about Fight Club. So I didn't want to throw the jinx on you guys, put the malarkey on you, and talk about giving up. You had a 4-goal lead with about, 5-6 minutes left to go, and I'm like, no. Kuykendall, silent 99% of the game, finds her way to scoring the last 2 goals to tie it up and to send it into overtime. Ronnie, I was just like, no. Not again. But once we got to the tie and we went into overtime, I did talk about it. I did say, folks, if this happens again, it'll be the 3rd time, and we're going to need to be talked off the ledge.
Right.
No question about it. But go ahead.
I'll tell you the difference, okay? We've been through, we lost to Pittsford, right? I lost a big lead to Pittsford. We lost in overtime.
Yeah.
Double overtime there.
Yep.
Rush Henrietta, same thing. I lost. These were early in the season. I lost a big lead to Rush Henrietta late in the game. They came back. We lost to them in overtime.
Right? By the way.
So in each, when we went into overtime with Pittsford and Rush Henrietta, right? My speech to the kids was very, positive. Very intense.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go out there. We gotta put. We gotta do. Win this. Right?
Rah rah rah.
Right. Not this time. Okay. I called the girls in. Right. They all had a look on their face like I had 3 heads. Okay, I thought,
I think you did at the time.
right? And I just said to them, hey, girls, first of all, smile. Okay, we're going to get through this. This is going to be fine. We've been here before. Nothing to worry about. We're going to get the ball. We're going to score the goal, and we're going to win the game. You guys have nothing to worry about. So smile right now. Relax. We got a couple minutes before we start. Just no worries. No big deal. Let's go out and get the ball and do it. So it was completely different than the first, those first 2 times in overtime. And then we get the ball in overtime, and I call a timeout, and I bring them in. I'm like, again, just smile. We got this. I set up a play. Right off the bat, they run the play, and Emma O'Neill hits the goalie in the foot.
Yes.
Right? And I was like, oh, boy, here we go. Right? So we lose the ball, and Spencerport goes down, and they have their opportunity. And let me tell you, Olivia Wall was wide open in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if she would have caught the ball, okay, that game was over, right? If she would have caught the ball in the middle, that game was over.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the pass was a little behind her, and she didn't catch the ball.
I may have alluded to that as well.
And, we came up with the ball. Meg Ellis came up with it, got the ball to Emma O'Neill, and Emma O'Neill was, outran the pack by 20 yards, 30 yards. She was gone, right? And she's a fast kid. And she was really fast, right? When she got that ball, Meg Ellis made a great pass up to her. She got it, and we have practiced this same play over and over for hours at a time.
Lexi told me that too.
Hours.
During the interview.
For 2 to 3 weeks prior to this game, we ran this play every single day for over an hour, right? And where the kids were like, come on, are we going to do something different? Nope. Eventually, this play, you're going to need to know this play.
Yeah. And
they ran it to a T.
It was textbook.
You couldn't have, the story couldn't have been any better.
I'm going to tell you, as soon as I saw Lexi get the ball, I knew that was it. As soon as she got the ball, I was basically standing up celebrating. And, my wife, my wife kind of said that, she was worried and nothing to worry about. As soon as the big rig got it. And by the way, let me sidebar real quick. Her mother at Pittsford asks me, where did you come up with big rig for Lexi? I said, look at her. She's the big rig, bro. She drives wherever she wants to go. She'll fight through 2, 3, however many you got. She'll go through the Malachi Crunch, and she loves that shot. And she used it to knock down the overtime winner.
She did. And let me tell you, and Emma O'Neill, I pulled Emma aside the other day, and because I pulled the kids aside and talked to them about the little things that we could have done different in that game, right? And I said, Emma, that pass was about an inch from being picked off. And she goes, I know. Because the defender from Spencerport, went for the ball.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a gamble at that point, right?
You live or die.
And she gambled and she went for it and missed it. And Lexi, caught the ball and went in and jammed it home. And what a huge moment for Canandaigua Braves girls lacrosse that was.
100%. That's Canandaigua's second of 3, second out of 3 years, 17 and 19. Excuse me. And you're right. It was huge. I don't know if I picked a player of the game out of that game. I don't think I did. I think I gave that to everybody,
right? Because
that was just but like I said, what a nightmare going down and seeing one goal, 2 goals, 3 goals. I'm like, oh my God, how many times have we been here? And I'd start to mention it, and then I do want to say, I bet just to walk it back a little bit and make it about me for a second, which I very rarely do, Ronnie. I behaved myself. I didn't go on any tangents. I didn't go on any rants. When they counted that goal, I just said, folks, in my opinion, there's no way that was a goal. And I stand by that. Yeah. And that was not a goal. And I behaved myself, just so you know. So
I'm proud of you for doing that.
I represented.
I got to be honest. My hat came off. I was livid.
Oh, I used the word pissed.
Yeah.
I said, you know what, fans? That's on the okay list. Ronnie is pissed.
Oh, I was.
But you had a legitimate gripe. I think you had several gripes, and I used the word adversity several times. But I behaved myself. I didn't go off on any rants, no tangents, but I did make it clear what I thought, but then we just moved on because I wanted to send that positive vibe down to you guys on the field because I talked to Lexi at the game, the boys' game at Victor, that they lost, by the way, by 1. What a heartbreaker. And she had said that you basically were a great leader in that instance because the more you freak out, the more they freak out. So you didn't pass that on down to them. And by the way, you know how we talk about, we had said before, one of the cliches, when you're a good coach and they buy in, they'll run through a brick wall for you. Lexi said you would do that for them. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I would.
So
Absolutely.
Not to rub your rhubarb. I'm just saying, which is a line from Batman. I just wanted to share that with you and let you know.
Yeah. So, after that happened, right, I was upset, and
rightfully so.
And Sue Ellis came up to me. She goes, Coach, calm down. Your team needs you. So I went, to the team and, and I was pissed to them, and I let loose to them how upset I was, how pissed off I was. I said, but this is just fuel for us. And for 19 minutes, I thought what I said to them at halftime reflected, the next 19 minutes, because they went out and they kicked some butt for the 19 minutes. Now, the last 6 minutes, we let down. We could, we had some mental breakdowns that we could have done a little better. But Spencerport, they're a good team.
You can't take anything away from what Spencerport did. And again, Clancy Rude clamped Kuykendall down, but she was there when they really. She also, Kuykendall, I kept saying, well, she hasn't contributed to the offense at all. She's kicking Abby's butt at the draw.
Yeah, she did.
So she did. The senior showed the way for the freshman. No question about that. And so she was still contributing. But then again, just to walk it back, you can't throw Spencerport under the bus and say it's just because Canandaigua fell apart. She was there.
Yeah.
They were there when they needed to be.
Clancy made one mistake the whole game. One of the less than 10 mistakes she's made all season.
Yeah.
And that was, but she saw that Choate was going down the side. Clancy left Kuykendall to go help slide when there's 15 seconds left, and Choate made a great play by getting the ball to Kuykendall after Clancy left her. So I can see Clancy's point. She was like, she was going. I was going to stop her, and Choate just made a great play.
But that's another, to walk it back to what we said earlier. You live by the sword, you die by the sword.
That's right.
She made the play, and she got hurt for it. Yeah. But what would happen if she didn't make the play? You got to make the play, and that's what a leader does, though. A leader makes a decision and then goes and then lives or dies by it,
Yep. And she knew it. She was like, this is why I did it. She said why she did it, which was great. So I thought it was a great game. I'm really excited about my kids, how they could have fell apart. They fell apart for 6 minutes, but they could have packed it in, right?
Yeah.
They didn't. They came out and they played lacrosse. And as a coach, you cannot ask for anything more of your team. And when there's diversity and there's you're facing an uphill. Spencerport had the momentum. They had everything going for them to win that game. They had the ball, right? We had the ball first. We lost it. They had the ball. They had the momentum. They had a girl wide open on the crease, and we managed to fight through that.
You transitioned and then knocked it down, and the word is adversity, not diversity.
Diverse, adverse, same thing.
So you play Eastport South Manor.
We do.
On Friday. You play them at 1 o'clock. They are 16-2.
Yeah.
And what's my other note here? Oh, their losses were to Darien out of Connecticut and Mount Sinai. So they've only lost a couple. I don't know. I think you know a little bit about them, so you know what kind of game plan. What can you tell us without giving too much away? What can you tell us about going into Friday?
Well, for one, they got the number one player in the country, number one 2019 player going to Notre Dame, Casey Choma. Okay, so we're going to have to game plan for her.
Okay,
but the other kids on offense, they got a good little team there. So, but I think that if we go in with the game plan to try to hold Choma as best we can in check, I think that'll give us the best opportunity to be successful that day.
You've got to force them to play next man, no question about that.
Yeah.
The only problem is, do they have the kind of depth that they can handle that? If you take her out of it, do they have somebody else that can step up into that role?
Yeah, I think they got a few different kids that are good lacrosse players. But a lot of people since the weekend have said, you're going to have your hands full, right? Saying to me, hands full with Eastport, and so are they. They're going to have.
Yeah,
their
let's look at it that way. Well, here's some numbers for you. They're outscoring opponents 179-80, and they average 9.9 per game, and they only yield 4.5. So one of the better offenses against obviously a very good defense.
They got a great little goalie in there. So she's definitely a big part of holding teams to 4 goals.
You've just got to get shots. You've got to make it a numbers game. You got to. I don't know. Or do you take the air out of the ball when you have it? I mean, do you play the possession game if you're winning at the draw?
No, if we're gonna win, we're gonna win the right way. We're gonna run with them, and
again, not to rub the rhubarb, but that is one thing I like about what you do. You do it the right way, and I will be talking about that when we get to the top 5.
Yeah. So win or lose on Friday. We're hoping for the win and be successful, and then winner of it's probably going to be FM in the championship. But
Yeah.
I'm really, really, really proud of our girls. I'm really, really happy with the opportunity that they have to go to state, especially the seniors.
Yep.
It's huge for them. They've been here before, but they were sophomores when that happened. When Canandaigua went before, and
2017.
I think it's just a great opportunity for them, and I'm just so proud of them. They have been through a lot, and they to come out now. They're in the top 4 teams in New York State right now. It's
Final
huge
Four.
for them. Final Four is
Now,
huge for
if
them.
I can use this opportunity, I don't want this to be a commercial, but I have been there. Chosen Spot Radio's been there, I think, for every game but one.
Yep.
I didn't make the Scanny Atlas game. I just was feeling like crap the first game of the season. I believe Chosen Spot Radio's been at every other game, and I want to be at this game. But to make that happen, there's a fee to broadcast.
Yeah.
There's a $250 fee to broadcast. So if we get that covered and we get some time, and travel and a little bit of food covered as well, I'll be there to broadcast that game. Now, you go to my Facebook page, Ronnie. I've got a GoFundMe going to try and cover that. So, again, thanks for letting me use that. But it's not just a commercial so Chosen Spot Radio can make scratch.
Sure.
I want to be able to continue to provide the service for the Canandaigua community and for the people who are interested, the service of being there to broadcast that game.
Yeah. So a good, maybe we can get Joe Kataya from Fairport Hots. He's been sponsoring the top 5 at 5. Joe,
You've been challenged, Joe.
Joe, if you're listening out there, maybe you can make a little donation to the Chosen Spot Radio Fund for to get the games broadcasted live. The game broadcasted live this weekend. So, Joe, we're counting on you to make this happen. Joe's the owner of Fairport Hots.
Fairport Hots, and they sponsor your thing. Well, here's the thing. I went with Canandaigua. When I went with Canandaigua in 2017, I did Canandaigua, Pelmac, and Pittsford. So if I'm there and your boosters, your teams, your parents, your individuals, your community members, your businesses, whatever, they want to get together and cover the fees and put a little something in my pocket for the time and the travel, I'll be more than glad to do it. You can find me on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm not hard to find.
I assume Gina Savage is handling that donation for Pelmac. And Sean Lucy, if you're listening out there, Sean's the president of PCLI.
I've discussed it with him in the past.
If you can, work on some of the sponsors in Pittsford, that would be great to get.
Scotty Wilson did that before a couple of years ago, and what he did is he got like $10 from each parent. And I don't know, were you involved in that? I don't think you weren't involved at that time. You were when you had the restaurant going. You did sponsor us.
Yeah.
A couple broadcasts, which thank you very much. I appreciate that. But not to take up too much time here today.
Right.
Just it's there if you want it, and there is no semifinal coverage. There's no coverage
Zero.
Anywhere on Friday.
So we need it. We're gonna make a push to get it, and I know that in Canandaigua we're gonna have it. So I'll push. I'd like Pittsford to have it too, and I know Gina will do a great job of getting the sponsors.
Well, like I said, you know what it's going to take to make it happen. I $250 to cover the broadcast rights, and then I want to get a little something out of it. I mean, it's obviously a labor of love, but Spazman's got to eat.
You got to eat, and you got to eat well too.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
So, all right. So, looking at the time, it looks like we're ready to go into the top 5.
The top 5 in Section 5.
Mine, obviously, like I said, is Fairport Hots, top 5. Top 5 in Section 5. And this may take me a little bit because I'm gonna have to explain to you my number 1.
Okay. It's all good.
But I'll go first this week.
Okay.
So,
well, it's your show. Go ahead. I'm just Ed McMahon over here.
Number 5, I'm going with Meg Ellis.
Nice.
A defender.
Titanium tough, brother. I love that kid.
She is a rock for me back there. Like I said, she came up with that ball in overtime and made a great pass to Emma O'Neill, and she's just been rock solid for me. So
without question.
She's my number 5 player this week. It goes to Meg Ellis. Number 4, I got to go with Emma Arnold, MVP of the Pelmac game. She was the MVP of that. She ran the up and down the field for them, and I thought she did a real nice job for them.
Right place, right time. I broadcast that game, and I saw the whole thing, and right place, right time.
Emma's going to Ohio State. It's going to be a great place for her. They're still looking for a coach, but I think they're going to find one soon. But Emma Arnold is my number 4.
Are you available?
I think I'd love to move to Columbus, right? Number 3, got to go with the Sampone twins, Ashley and Taylor Sampone. If you would have watched the game against Rush Henrietta, those kids controlled the midfield. They controlled everything about the defensive end to the offensive end and everything in between.
You have to control it between the 30s. If you don't, anything else you do isn't going to work.
Right. The one play in particular I was laughing with Taylor Sampone about is that she had a collision with Rhea Davis, right, in that game. Both of them were going for the ball, and they both collided, right, and they both went to the ground. Taylor jumped up. Rhea gets up. But Rhea looked like she got hit by a truck, So, and Taylor's a little smaller than Rhea. But both of them, what a great hustle play. But I just think that, the athleticism and the strength and muscle and the lacrosse IQ behind the Sampone twins were a huge reason why Pittsford, won that game against Rush Henrietta.
Excellent.
Number 2, I'm going with Emma O'Neill, Canandaigua.
Okay, did I miss somebody? I've got Ellis and the Sampones. Who did I miss?
Emma Arnold, number 4.
Oh, that's right, Emma Arnold, yeah.
Emma O'Neill gets my number 2 pick this week. She has just been nothing but solid. For her to get that ball and outrun the pack like she did and make that textbook play exactly how we designed it with no hesitation of how it was to be done.
Pure confidence.
Speaks wonders of this kid.
Absolutely.
She's going to St. Joe's and this past week, with the Section 5 championship and, the win over Frontier, she is just rock solid. So I'm super proud of her, and she gets my number 2 player of the week.
Nice.
Okay, number 1. I've been getting a lot of flack from my kid, right? And I've, McKenna Davis for Pittsford, because she's had some really good games, right, in the past few weeks. And she's like, kidding me, joking with me, but, and I'm just like, McKenna, until, I told her, when you start inside rolling, right, I'll consider you for.
You have mentioned that previous. Yes, you have said that before.
But she, I got to go through a quick, 30-second timeline with her, right? Against Rush Henrietta, Pittsford had scored 2 goals already, right? So I think it was 2-2 or 3-2 Rush Henrietta. She scores a goal, the 3rd goal of Pittsford of the day, right? Then she assists on another goal. Then she is getting double teamed, runs the double away. It was Mashesky and Maddie George not Rachel Crane, but Amber Daly and Kate Mashesky were double teaming her behind.
I wouldn't want them chasing after me.
She diced through them, ran out to the corner, turned, throws the ball over her shoulder to Kira Lucy, who comes around and scores the 4th goal of the game, right? And again, then she assists to Taylor Sampone for the 5th goal, and then McKenna scores on a 1-on-1 the 6th goal. So right now she's a part of 4 goals, the 4 goals right in a row. Right, okay. She's directly responsible for it. Going to overtime, she gets the ball, she zips one over the crossbar. Right, she could have won the game right there. Right, I was like, oh boy, here this
crossbar made a lot of saves this weekend.
Yeah. So going into the 4th overtime, she is on the draw circle. The one draw that Mashesky doesn't win to herself, Casey Mooney gets the ball on the ground. McKenna goes and gets the ball, pops the ball up in the air, reaches up with one hand over the back of Rachel Crane and grabs it out of Rachel's. Basically, Rachel was just about to get the ball, and McKenna reached up over her back, over her head, and snagged it with one hand. Came down with it, turned, made a few steps, throws the ball to Ellie Mooney. Ellie Mooney gets the ball, goes in, scores the overtime winner. So the last 5 goals that Pittsford had, McKenna had a direct, was directly involved with all 5. Right?
Okay.
So for 2 to 7, she was involved in the last 5. Then against, Lancaster, I think she put up 6 goals. She had a natural hat trick. She put up 6 on them and 1 assist. So she's my number 1 player, and I'm not, I hate to say that I'm not being biased because she's my kid.
2 things: your podcast, and who cares? You don't have to disclaim,
but
man.
She really
earned it.
She really deserved it. She earned it. She went out there and I thought she was a big part of that, of Pittsford in the last 2 games that's been carrying her, and she's been playing really good lately. So I'm really proud of her, and she definitely deserves my number 1, my Fairport Hots top player of the week, number 1, McKenna Davis.
Right on. Nice job. I'm going off the book again, out of the box. I'm blowing the box up. You told me no rules. I can do whatever I want.
Yep.
Mine is sponsored by FLX Software. Okay. And I am going to give the top 5 things I saw this Saturday when I went out to Williamsville North.
Yep.
Okay, for the regionals. I broadcast the Palmac game and the Canandaigua game on Chosen Spot Radio. The first one, I got to give a shout out to Section 6. They've won 1 time in 68 games. 67-1. Section 5 leads Section 6. That one was in 2008 when Lancaster beat Rush Henrietta.
Yep.
They beat them 13-11. Then they went on to lose to, what was it, Manhasset, I think, or one of those. But I don't know. I don't think it was Manhasset. But Section 6, knowing what's going to happen, they still show up, they get off the bus, and they don't give up. Not once. I was able to see both fields. Not once did I see any Section 6 team go into what I call the standing fetal position, which is the shoulders down and not giving a crap. I didn't see any of that. Section 6. Also included in with that is going to be the Williamsville North facility. They have 2 side-by-side fields. Not once did play from one field encroach onto the other field, so they spaced them out nicely. Luckily for me, I don't know if it was luck or if it was on purpose, but the B and the D games that I broadcast were over by the box, and the A and C teams were over on the other field, which is kind of opposite of what you always see. You always see the A team, the premier team, they always get the better field, right?
Yep.
All right, so Williamsville North and Section 6, they're my number 5. Okay, number 4, Lakeshore. Lakeshore of Section 6 put the scare into HFL. Now, Coach O'Connell, he might disagree with that. He might say, we had it in hand. During the first half, that was a great back-and-forth type battle, and I think at one time, Lakeshore even had the lead. Mm-hmm. Lakeshore even led that thing. So Lakeshore, they have the cornfields, and they've got some talent.
Well, the cornfields are 2 kids, just so you know, Lonnie and Shawnee.
Yes, not
fields
they play
of corn.
They play in the cornfields. I'm glad you said that, because the first time you hear that, you're like, "What are you talking about?" And they've got ball. One of them is a 4-sport athlete.
Yeah,
and she is a stud. But Lakeshore put the scare. It was a 1-goal game. I think it was 6-5 HFL at the half. And then, as you had mentioned earlier, they came out and HFL did their thing and ended up pulling away to win.
Big factor. Sorry to interrupt you. Big factor in that, though, is Shawnee Cornfield, who was probably by far the best athlete in all of Buffalo.
Yeah.
This past weekend.
Yep.
She got 2 yellow cards, and she was ejected in the first couple minutes of the second half.
Okay. See, I did not know that. I did not know that. So, number 3, Andra Savage and Emma Arnold. Mm-hmm. Watching those 2 play. I can't take Walker out of the mix. I can't take Weaver, the goalie, out of the mix. I can't do that. But Emma Arnold and Andra Savage were on a completely different level, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Emma Arnold, as you said, back and forth, up and down, leadership, everything. Andra Savage knocked down 6 goals, had a boatload of almost, I think she went 6-5. I think she had an 11-point game. I could be wrong. Don't tell my wife I said that, but because I tell her I'm never wrong. But Andra Savage and Emma Arnold were just on a completely different level. And that leads me into my number 2 thing that I saw, the domination of Canandaigua at the draw. 10-1, I had it. I think, you can correct me, I think Frontier might have got a second one when you had the 2s in. Mm-hmm. But up against Herod, Clancy Rude, and Emma O'Neill, they got 1.
Yep.
10-1. And Emma O'Neill and Clancy Rude were so good at getting the draw, whether it was in the air, whether it was off the carpet, whether it was on the ground. I just can't forget seeing Emma O'Neill coming from the wing, shaking who was defending her, and just picking the ball up right out of the air and just taking right off.
Going, yeah.
Yeah. So that's my number 2. And number 1, again, not to rub thy rhubarb. You get it. Okay, you get it. It seems that with everybody else, it seems like the number to get to is 19. You don't want to get to 20. You call the dogs off. EJ didn't call the dogs off for Pelmac until about 4 or 5 minutes to go. You basically, in my estimation, called them off early, like in the second half. To start the second half, you started filtering in a 2 here, you put a 2 there, and then the wholesale stuff came a little bit later. But you called the dogs off. Your game could have been 33-3. But you kept it nice and low. You respected Ms. Linsky. You respected Frontier. And like I said, just
thank you.
The class with and also in that game against Spencerport, I'm like, man, he's going to get thrown out. Just be careful. And, I really thought I was picking on you. You're going to have an aneurysm, dude. You had every right in the world to be upset, and you reined it in. And based upon what I've heard from Lexi and a couple other people, you didn't do that. You transposed what you were going through into motivating the girls to executing what they had to do on the field. Ronnie Davis on Saturday gets my number 1.
Well, thanks. And it's been a lot of fun. We're going into this weekend. Our season is ending this weekend, regardless win or lose.
One way or the other.
There's a lot of Section 5 teams that aren't going to state, so it's a really special opportunity.
Only 4
for the 4 of us to go and have some fun with this. And I'm really proud of our girls, especially in Canandaigua, that are going to go represent. And like I said earlier in the year, I said to the team, hey, I'm coaching for this year. Let's not worry about next year. Let's not worry. And I would love to come back to Canandaigua, and hopefully they'll have me back. But this weekend, I
was going to say, don't look past this weekend, man. Let's focus on Cortland
this weekend
and get that over. It's a beautiful ride. I don't know how you go. I don't know how your bus is getting there. When I go down, I go through Auburn. I go down along the lake. It's a beautiful ride down. It's a beautiful facility, other than the fact that you have to park a half a mile away from the stadium. But other than that, it's a beautiful time. They have great food, and hopefully, we can get me down there to again, not to throw the commercial, but just I got your back.
Let's keep
I got your back,
that.
Ride or die.
Let's keep pushing the different towns to do that, and we'll see how we make out. But regardless, we're going to be back here next Monday, right, to talk about.
And we'll have plenty to talk about.
A lot to talk about with the state semis and hopefully the finals. And best of luck to all the Section 5 teams going this weekend, all the coaches and players, and it's going to be a fun ride, and I'm looking forward to it. So.
And remember, you can watch this on demand on our YouTube, Rock Stars Girls Lax. Check it out. You can also listen on Spreaker, and there you have it.
All right. Well, thank everyone for listening this week. Sorry we got started a little late.
Hey, can I shout out Keith's Finger Lakes Handyman Services?
Yeah, get it out
there.
Sorry,
Keith is probably like, hey, Craig, you didn't mention it. Keith's Finger Lakes Handyman Services, a buddy of mine out of Canandaigua. He loves to support Canandaigua sports, and you can get a hold of him at, hold on a second, 585, man, I'm blind, 880-4753, or Keith's Keith's
Handyman Services.
FingerLakesHandyman.com. Yeah, so thanks for letting me throw that out.
No problem. Thank everyone again for listening. We'll see you all next week on Rockstars Girls Lax. And see ya.
See ya. Go Section 5.
Rockstars. Rockstars Girls Lacrosse. Rockstars Girls Lacrosse. The Rockstars Girls Lacrosse Show with hosts Ronnie Davis and Craig Spazman Simmons.